Hi all, it's Eddie coming live from the greenhouse. We're here to do episode 2 of the tropical grow alongs. That includes the update from what was 10 days ago, so I'm about 3 days behind on where I wanted to film. It's been roasting this week. Every opportunity that I've had to film, I've come into the greenhouse, and I've got an industrial fan on to keep the plants kind of relatively cool, but I have to turn it off for filming. It's 45 degrees in here. I couldn't even think about what I wanted to say, so I'm a little bit behind because every time I tried to make a video I was making mistakes left, right and centre. So 6 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, here I am. This is a dedication to make sure that I keep on top of these things. So hopefully if this is the first time, if you clicked on, don't forget to subscribe, because these are going to be, say, weekly to 2 weekly kind of episodes. I'm going to try where possible to do it every single week, but obviously there's a lot of editing and sowing and things like that, and obviously I run a plant business as well as working full time, so where I can I'm going to get them done every single week to try and be consistent. There'll be no further apart than 2 weeks. Today I've got some exciting news for you, as well as trying two species of bananas that I've never even heard of. I've also got an update on all of the things that we grew last week, as well as a wicked discount code as well, so stay tuned. So essentially in the description, I'm going to put a discount code. And for full transparency on this is not something that I earn commission on. This is just a brilliant company that I use, one of 2 companies I use. And just to show I put my money where my mouth is, there's a pile of the seeds that I've ordered. And that's one order. The company that we're going to be using certainly for the next month or so, if not going forward, are Jungle Seeds. If you order a banana from them, it comes from it says Banana Planet on them, sister company. And just to prove my credentials, I'm not just talking there. Some of the other orders, look. So you can see that I've not kept every order. So I've worked hard with them. Absolutely friendly company, brilliant seeds, cracking germination on it. But to try and get something that was fair for the company, but also fair for you guys. So they've agreed 20% off for the next month. Obviously, see how that goes. They're a busy company anyway, so they're not one of those that's just a startup company and they're desperate for orders. They're not. But even without the discount code, it's worth ordering. But I thought it was 20%, fill your boots, do what I've done. I put a massive order through. And then what we can look at with this grow along as well is, if you're looking at it to do what I did originally, which was to make money from seed, growing all things from seed and making money that way, that's awesome. Whether you do like what I do and run a business, or whether you're just trying to do it for plant swaps to get other plants that you want. Some of these plants, in fact, all of these plants, if you buy the seed packet and we grow, we're going to be able to make money on the seed from the actual plant. Like, for example, the cannas, you can get 5 seeds for normally about £5 or so, 20% knocked off for about £4. You can easily sell the canna plants for anywhere between £5 and £10 without any hesitation whatsoever. So therefore, then the rest of it's profit. If you do it for like what I do as well, which is to grow ultra rare things, do a bit of a Blue Peter one for you. Manihot. The best things that I've grown from seed, in my opinion. For the challenge, then that's what we're here for as well. So whatever your motivation is, it makes no odds to me. If you're trying to start up a plant business, reach out to me. I don't mind giving some advice on that one. If we're after just a challenge, some of these seeds will win on. Some of them will lose on because, like I say, they're difficult to germinate, so it's not a slight on the company. If I sow seed packets all the time and I get nothing from them, and it's probably my method's messed up, I've added too much water, whatever. It's part and parcel of the game. So without further ado, I'm going to give you an update on last week's, and then we're going to start this week's stock. So canna, first and foremost, you can see in there, there's 5 grow points, and there's 3 in the one section there. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5. That at the moment is still, oh no, top, thank God. There's 1, 6. So it's still, that's still quite low germination, 60%, because I sowed 10, and that's kind of J. Germiana, something like that. Don't kill me on the pronunciation of that. 60%, I'm still not happy with that. So I would imagine if I can get another 2, that'll put a smile on my chops, because 80%, 90%, somewhere in that remit with cannas is what I'm pretty happy with. Bear in mind with seeds, it doesn't matter what you're sowing. It's rare for seeds to be popping every 6 days, 7 days. So the fact that we got any growth out of these shows the quality of the seed and the fact that the method works. But some of these ones that we're going to be doing might take 6 months. That's why we're doing 3 plus per episode, because we can afford to leave one and we'll get some plants out of the other ones. So really happy that we got 6 out of that at the moment, but it's been 10 days. So in the grand scheme of things, they normally pop between 7 and 21 days. So we're only halfway through that. So I would imagine that we'd get quite a few out of that as well. Cannas also go to seed. So once we grow those cannas on, and again, a bit of a blue Peter, they get a bit more like this. Then the next stage is they'll go on and on. And then at the end of the season, they get a massive flower spike. Let that crack open. They'll all form, get all gnarly. It'll look like they're ready, but they're not. And then you wait for them to go brown and crispy. And then the seed will actually split. And then you can see the seeds inside. And at that point, when you rattle it, it's a bit like a rattlesnake. You can kind of hear the seeds inside of it. You pop them out and then, store them over winter and then do what I've done, which was sowed about 49 of them the other day on just little dinky pots. That's the canner update. So we're relatively happy with that one. The ones that I said was easy. Look at that one. Look at the colour of that. It's like rhubarb. The pink on that is just sensational. Again, we've got 2, 4, 7 out of 10. So 70% on the Arisaema Gibsoni red, which again is okay. I'd expect another 1 or 2 if I'm being truthful. But what am I going to do with 7 rice? And I only needed 2. So I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest with you. They've all just about started with their set of true leaves. These are all cotyledons, which are the seed leaves. I'll show you the difference in case this is your first episode. I know I explained it on the last one. But these are the first set of leaves because they look like the plant. The cotyledons, these ones, look like nothing. They're just oval-shaped leaves. But you can see there now the characteristics of the actual plant come from the second, third set. The next ones will get wider, a bit more cut and all the rest of it. And it'll look more and more like the plant that you saw on the seed packet. The last one that I advised I've never grown before, which was these Euphorbia. What's the name of them? Euphorbia marginata Kilimanjaro. We've got 3 in there. And again, happy with that. Look at the cost of these. You're talking like £4 or £5 a packet. We've got 3 plants there. For what they look like as well. If you went to a garden centre, you'd be paying about 15 quid a plant. So yes, obviously there's work to do with the plant business. What you sell is time and all the rest of it. But you can see quite clearly how we can get some really nice tropical plants there for basically nothing. So, speech over. Let's go on to the next one. So these ones, as I said to you before, same firm, Planet Banana. If you order the banana seed from Jungle Seeds, they'll come like this. 9 times out of 10 anyway. And this one is Musa Sikimensis Manihot Massive, and you get 10 seeds. The name Massive I don't think refers to the seed coat, but they are actually big, those seeds in there. Really, really tough as well. Like you get like stones in there almost. So what we're doing with these, I did try and film this yesterday with me pouring the seeds in and all the rest of it, trying to do a bit of the kind of grow along. But I had the camera set up completely wrong and you couldn't see me pouring anything in at all. I can imagine that you're capable of opening a seed packet and pouring them into some water. So I don't think I need to bother filming that part again. But that's all I did there. That was just warm water, not boiling water, warm water. Put that in there. Put that in somewhere warm. So what I've done is I'll put that in the greenhouse. And then for 2 days, that's all we're looking at with that one. And I'll say it's about the challenge of being able to grow some of these from seed. I'll show you one that I grew last year from seed, which is this Sikimensis, the collar on the back of that. That's one. Obviously, I can't even get it all on. It's about 3 or 4 foot tall now, and that's grown from seed versus ones that you can import. Same age, I've had them the same amount of time, and the seed one is just absolutely flown away. So, like I say, when people come around to view my garden, some people can't believe that you've even got a banana in your garden. Imagine the look on people's face when you tell them that we grew from seed as well. I think that's just taking that thing to like the next level, as well as obviously if you can get 10 seeds for, I don't know, say between £5 and £8. I can't remember what I paid for these now. So just a little bit of information about that one, the Sikimensis Manihot Massive. Again, I believe mine was the Sikimensis stays outside to be able to wrap that. You can bring those in just to make sure 100%. Again, it has the coloration of the sycamensis with the colour on it, and the undersides being a different colour as well, like red and purple. And apparently has better wind resistance than Baz juice. It doesn't tear quite as easily, from what I can see online. Obviously, I'll try and see if I can put some information on screen, but feel free to have a little bit of a Google and stuff and try and get invested where we can. This one is Musa balbisiana. Again, you can never tell with the Musa seeds. They're far smaller. What I was trying to film yesterday, which was obviously a valid point, was when I put these seeds in, they're all floating. Vast majority of them were floating on the surface. And I know in a lot of the groups that I grow, people go, oh, if it floats on the surface, throw them away, which is absolute garbage. It just depends on how much air's around the seed when you first chuck them in. Some of these things look like fizzy drink that are covered in air. Obviously, but based on the weight of the seed, they're going to float on the surface. As some water goes inside and the weight changes and the air kind of moves or dissipates, they'll drop to the bottom. And like I say, 70% of those were floating. So a lot of people would have dashed those. So it's just a bit of a heads up. Don't throw them unless they're really, really, really old seed. I'm talking you found them in the cupboard from 10 years ago. But even then, just soak them through and just see what happens. But never throw a seed away just because it's floating like that. So yeah, so all of those are now at the bottom, which probably gives me a bit of an idea that maybe some of the water's got in. Going to leave those for another day. They've only been in for one day. And then what the next step is getting a sandwich bag, which I'm going to grab in a second. We're going to put some compost in just because we need some water retention. And then I'm going to put some perlite in a bag. We're probably talking about that much at the bottom of the bag. And then we're going to throw all of the seeds into that bag, ziplock it all up, and then leave it somewhere because they need a day and night cycle. So they need that hot, cold period. So the greenhouse at this time of year is absolutely perfect for that. So normally I would sow individually in little seed trays just for when they pop. It's easy. You can push them out and then you can pot on and all the rest of it. But even at the seed company said that the best way is to do the baggy method with these. So we're going to go with their method. It's their seeds, and I'm going to see what germination that we can get with those. Like I say, I will get the bag shortly, and then we can get on with that. There you go, guys. So as you can see in there, that's compost and perlite. Because the perlite's bone dry, be very careful with it. I'm going to zip this up because it's got like, I don't know if you can see it on my hands, it's like a really fine powder. I've never read up about it online, but the dust on it can't be good for your lungs. So what we're going to do is just try and mix that with the lid shut on that. Right, a nice little mix. And that looks absolutely perfect. So give it a bit of a tumble. There you go. So that's what we're looking for. Obviously, I'm going to leave my seeds for another day. So just imagine me pouring those in there. It doesn't take much of imagination to do that. By the time this one goes, in fact, by the time this goes live, I'm going to put this live today. So I'll still have a day on that as well. I'm not expecting miracles from these. These can take from a couple of weeks or a couple of months up to probably about 6 months, a year. I've seen some seeds take to germinate. So these are going to be some that we put kind of on the back burner, but they're not going to take up any room because they're going to be in that little bag. So we can put that bag anywhere. If you've got a greenhouse, a nice safe facing windowsill, something like that, just somewhere warm with a bit of sun, will be absolutely fine. And it needs a day and night cycle. I can't stress that enough because it won't break the dormancy without that. So don't put them on a heat mat unless you're going to turn it off for about 8 hours and then turn it back on again. You know, that kind of jazz. What I'll do as well, just so we can get the 3 in, and also I want to sow these as fresh as possible. I'm going to get the Manihot seeds out of here as well, if I can find them. And then we're going to sow these today. As I've said, we've got the discount code just for the month for now to see how it goes. So if you guys want the discount, want to do the grow alongs, stuff like that, then obviously please buy, and then we might be able to have another conversation. We might not, but we might be able to have another conversation about extending that if it was worth the company's time, dropping, you know, the 20% on that. And then also, if you're interested in these videos, please let me know, because it takes an awful lot of time editing, filming these in my spare time. So it's just whether or not you think that it's even worth me filming these seed grow alongs as well. So as much engagement as I can get, the better for me as well. It G's me up. Sometimes you run out of ideas for these YouTube videos, as well as getting up at 6 in the morning to film them. So I appreciate any support that I can get. To avoid any more waffle, again, jungle seeds, Manihot if you went for these. These are the seeds. I'll show you there. There you go. Kind of a bit ricinous, kind of looking a bit like turtle shells, you know, that kind of jazz. These ones have been my absolute nemesis. So this is the 4th pack of seeds I've had of various different companies as and when they've come in as fresh seed. And literally that thing behind me here is the only one that I've had germinate. I did reach out to these and say, listen, have you got any secret tips that I can pass on to my subscribers about this? And again, they said, the same as me, sometimes you can get 1 or 2 that'll pop up in a week. You might get 1 or 2 that pop up in a couple of months, but you might get them that's a year plus. So these are a bit of an investment. However, £10 for the seeds, I think, is what I paid. With a 20% discount, I knocked them down to £8. If I can get a plant like that, out of even a couple of packets, that plant's worth about 80 quid, 100 quid, something like that. They're really expensive online. I'm not worried about that. And I just like the fact that I can crack it. So we've got 7 seeds. If I get 1 out of that, I'm going to be buzzing, because the cost of the seed versus the cost of acquisition of that plant, this would be far cheaper. So we are not looking at canna levels of germination with this. I am looking for 1. Any more than 1 is a bonus, an absolute bonus. I don't know what the difficulties with these seeds. I know some people, if they've not germinated within 6 months, will put them from 1 month in the fridge to try and kind of convince the plant it's gone through like a winter phase, and then put them back on the heat. I'm just going to use my normal standard mix with that, and I'm going to show you in a second, of coir or compost, perlite, and then heat. That's it, nothing else. I'm going to use one of my humidity dome ones, which is one of these tubs and one of these little lids. I think I got those off Temu, like a Temu special. They were really cheap, and yeah, they've done me really well. So I'm going to pop them in there, and then see if you can beat the grow master. See if you can beat me. Put it in the comments if yours germinate, if you have better success, because that's what I want, really. I want people to be able to like be in a bit of competition, see how many you can get. I don't know everything. I just try my hardest with these videos, and we'll see where we go. But if you've got any special tips, feel free to put it in the comments. We'll share, and then I'll buy another pack and I'll try yours. I don't mind. But yeah, without further ado, let me get my equipment. I'll come back to you. One point I missed with the banana seed in my haste is that it's got to be moist all the way through. We're just not soaking wet. We don't want the seeds to rot out. They advise that they normally mist theirs once a week just to try and keep that humidity in there, but obviously check it. Depending on your location, you might need to do that more or less than that. But what we don't want is loads of water all at the bottom. So I might even like wring it out and just make sure, or just keep mixing it through as we're doing that. So moist all the way through, not sopping wet. Got my normal mix. So inside there this time is compost and perlite. I have got some of the coir mix that I always use, but because I've got like, I think about 200 litres worth of compost that's already pre-mixed down there, I'm going to use that for now. If you've got coir, which is probably the happiest little chap I've ever seen on this particular, that little coconut geezer there, he's pretty happy with himself. Just put that in water and then that'll soak all that up. That's coconut husk, and that's what I always use in my videos. I've got an absolute ton of them down there. They're just not pre-mixed yet. So compost, coir, whatever you've got lying around. Try not to use the seed starting mix, because I found it goes like concrete. Even if you put that in, it just, I've never had much luck with seed starting compost. If you've gone ahead of time, thought you were getting organised, then if you've got it, use it. But put a lot of extra perlite in it, just to, it goes rock hard, you see, like, and the seeds just struggle to get through it. So we've got that mix. I'm going to moisten that now, put the Manihot seeds in it, and then that's going, the dome's going over the top of that. Then that's going to go into the Vitapod just to see if we can get some of these cracking. So I'm going to wet that now. I'm going to give that a bit of a good soak through. You feel the weight change and it should start pouring out the bottom, which is perfect. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get our seeds wherever I left them. Oh, there we go. So let me know you're getting on with your grow alongs. And obviously you can be a bit of a week behind or so. But with the canister, like I say, they can pop in a couple of days anyway, so you can see and catch up where I'm at. And as if you want to do them live, I did do a post this week that listed every single plant seed that I've ordered from the company. So every single one that I've got behind me, I've done a list as a post. So if you go and look at that, pick which ones you want. I'm going to be rattling these out because I don't want seeds sat around for months while I'm filming the video, so they're going to be quite quick, and then I'll launch them as and when. The vast majority of my methods are going to involve me doing exactly the same thing as what I'm doing now, which is using coir mix, following the advice as far as how wet and how cold and warm and all that jazz that I need. It'll be the same mix. What I'll do is just push them seeds in just a little bit, nothing too crazy with that one, and then literally just put some of the compost on top just to keep the moisture in. Put that in, give that a bit of a firm, so you can see that's like that. Plenty of moisture in there now, so you can top that. If you've got vermiculite, you can use vermiculite, you can use coir, you can use whatever it is that you want to top that. The reason we top it is because of the seed. You want moisture at every single contact all the way around, so that's why we top it and we don't just leave it as it is. Last thing to do with any plant that you're growing, no matter how well you know the seeds, unless you've only got one thing growing, which is these, we just want to write a little label. So I'm just going to put Manihot, and I put 7 seeds, so we know what the best case scenario is. I mean, if I get 7 out of this, and then I don't know what date it is today. So scrambled and early I've got up, but I'm going to write today's date on there after I get off this so I can check on my phone. So we'll write that on there, and then we'll keep a note on there. So obviously we've sown the 3 sets of banana, so you get 2 baggies each, chuck those in. Then we've got the Manihot, and again these are going to be a bit of the longer burner ones, but again really sought after seed, so we don't mind that. We've already had success with, if you've done the cannas with me, the euphorbia and the ricin. So already we've got, you know, talking about 15 odd plants all ready to go from a relatively small amount, probably about 15 quid in charge already, a pound a plant. If you went to a nursery and you saw a pound a plant, you'd go wild. If you're anything like me, I'd be filling up the car. So follow it along, and like I say, feel free to give me some support. So if you want to comment on the video, see how well your seeds and stuff are going. If you have any drama as well, because sometimes things don't go perfect. And when I was first starting, you know, I made hundreds of mistakes, and you learn by them, so that's fine. Put me in the comment. No comments too stupid in there, and then we'll all help each other. We're trying to grow a bit of a community in there. So if you've been growing bananas for 30 years and you know better than me, I will not take offense to that. I'll get another set of seed and I'll try your method and just see which one works as well. So feel free to everybody to share in the comments, like the videos, and just do whatever we can to kind of push these. And just let me know if these are worthwhile. Keep filming as well, because obviously I run a business, I work full time, and then to be editing for a couple of hours just for a video every week when I could get these sown and probably about another 10 speeches at the same time. You're going to understand it takes a lot of time for me to do that. So just let me know in the comments. But thanks for watching. I appreciate you sticking around.